everybody, thank you so much for joining me. This is a really fantastic video idea from my friend David, and I believe he first brought this up way back during probably late fall last year when I was doing all of my holiday palette reviews and gift sets and everything, and he was like, you know, when July rolls around and everybody's forgotten about all these palettes, you should bring back a Christmas in July type thing. You know how stores always have Christmas in July sales, so I'm like, yes, I have totally got to file that idea away. And then I think maybe on July 1st, he texted me, he's like, don't forget about Christmas in July. He is just the best. I'm like, yes, I'm on it. So here's what I want to do. This is the way I want to approach this. I'm going to do 5 looks in one video. I'm going to, over the course of 5 days, pull in a different holiday palette type thing and do a look with it. And it's mainly going to be eyes because these are like bigger eye palettes, like stuff I'd recommended back during the holidays. I'm gonna bring it back. So if you've still got this stuff, we can do some relevant tutorials for you, or maybe if you don't have these things, you might have something similar in your collection and you can just kind of get re-inspired maybe. Not that I do the most complicated or always super flashy eye looks. I don't know, we'll see what happens this week. But I try to make things realistically wearable, just the kind of looks I like to do. And I just love the idea of getting some of this holiday stuff back out. And please tell me in the comments section if you honestly to this day are still using some of the holiday palettes you bought, because there's no reason why not to. I'm looking at a small stack of palettes here that I loved that came out during the holidays, but we just get so inundated by all the new stuff that's piling in on top of it. It's like, who has a chance? Who has time to go back to the old? Well, this week we're doing it. So now we're going to move into look number 1, and it's using the Kat Von D Metal Matte Palette, one of my top eyeshadow recommendations for holiday time. I hope you enjoy. First thing I did for this look, I applied some Milani eyeshadow primer all over my lid, and then I used the color Suede from the matte line in my crease just to build up a little natural color here because we're going to be layering on some other more interesting shades. I also went just above that shade with Fringe, and that's the peachy matte color. And then I'm putting this nice matte cream color called Bone right up under the brow. It gives such a clean look there. And something I really like about this palette is this range right here, the yellow to peach to purple type idea. So I used Feather with a flat brush and applied it on the inner third of my lid. Very easy, just pat it on. And then I went on with Fringe, again, the peach color, right on the center of the lid. And then I'm going to take a mix of silk and ribbon and pat that on the outer part of my lid, keeping it nice and soft. This doesn't need to be a super intense look here. And I'm going to wedge my brush into my crease also. And then to further define my crease, I'm bringing in a small brush, again with the combination of ribbon and silk, the 2 purpley shades in this palette. I'm going to buff that into my outer corner. And then I'm going to go into ribbon with a smudge brush and use that just a little on the outer part of my lower lash line, and then I'll continue inward with silk. Then I'm going to take my Wet n Wild underbrow highlighter pencil and use that in my lower inner rim. I'm just going to curl the lashes and apply a couple of coats of my L'Oreal Lash Paradise mascara. Using that on the top lashes and then some CoverGirl Plump Crusher water resistant on the lowers because I just love the way that wears on my lower lashes. And I love the end result with this look because we've taken a palette that came out during the holidays, and I remember originally doing some kind of intense looks with this palette because, you know, there are a lot of vivid, vibrant shades, but now that we're doing this sort of summery look, yes, I did stay with all the mattes, no real reason why. The shimmery shades are great as well, but I really like this range of colors right here, and it makes for a very soft, very pretty look. One more thing I did with the shadow, I didn't want to lose Fringe on the lid. Sometimes you start blending, and you lose some color, so I tapped Fringe on the center of my eyelid with my finger, and doing so brings that shade back to life a little bit. So I love this look. I've done this exact look twice because I shot this when I still had my old camera, and then I thought it's not going to make sense to like start this series with my old camera and then by the end have my new camera. I don't know. And I'll let you know also, I hope I remember to do this with every look, what's on my cheeks and lips. I use my Too Faced Papa Don't Peach blush on the cheeks just to again play into that peachy color that's coming off of the eyes. And on my lips is my Revlon Ultra HD Matte in the shade Seduction, which I would describe as kind of a dirty, dusty peach. You got any dirty, dusty peaches on your countertop right now? Get rid of them. But yeah, I really like this shade alongside this eye look. Throw on a soft kind of peachy pink cardigan and you're all set. Now for day 2, we're using the Kylie Cosmetics Holiday Palette from 2016. This palette was barely used by me. I started out by priming my lids with Milani eyeshadow primer. Then I used the color called Chestnut in my crease. This is kind of a pinky beige color, and I thought it was just a good starting point. Then I went into the burgundy shade and used that to deepen up the outer part of my crease as well. There's a nice matte cream color in this palette, and I used that as a highlight under my brows. There's a really like deep, dusty, dirty bronze color. I applied that on the center of my lids, and then I used the matte like black plum color, and I patted that on the outer part of my lids and also kind of worked that up into my crease as well. As that color shears out, you can kind of see a little more plum out of it. And then for a little bit of a pop, I went for the silver color, and I used that on the innermost part of my lid, kind of close to the tear duct area. And for my lower lash line, I decided I wanted a pop of blue, so I used my Makeup Forever M22 liner on my inner rim. It's a nice true royal blue. I also smudged that on my actual lower lash line itself. And then I used the shimmery navy from the palette to kind of top that off and further smudge out the look and make it seem a little more smoky. Then I did mascara on my upper lashes with the Total Tease mascara from CoverGirl. On the lower lashes, I used my Cobalt Blue Voluminous because I thought it would just further reinforce the blue that I had going on there. I used some lashes on my upper lash line that are very similar to the Red Cherry number 43, a little bit flared out on the outside. On my cheeks, I've got kind of a rosy bronze thing going on here, so for that, I used my Pink Leopard from Too Faced. I really love this stuff. I've used this for years and really like the effect. It has a little bit of glow to it, a little bit of interesting depth, just a really pretty shade that seems to complement any look that I do. And then on my lips, I use this Infallible Paints Metallic from L'Oreal, and this is in the shade Moonlust. So that's giving a ton of glow to the lips. And then I use my NYX Mahogany lip liner, which is kind of a deep neutral around the outside. Just gives the lips a little more dimension there. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this look, and I will see you for look number 3. What's up, everybody? It's day 3, and we are working with this palette from Tarte. This was definitely my favorite holiday palette that Tarte put out this past year. And then I went straight into the green in this palette called Landscape, and just with a flat brush, I patted that on pretty much the outer 2/3 of my lid. And then I took an E25 brush without any color on it, but just to kind of move that shade around a little bit. Then I took the shade called Roy G. Biv, and that one has a little bit of a golden fleck, but overall it's more of just a warm kind of rosy brown. And I used that with my E25 just on the border of my green in the crease. Then I took a bare brush, just blended around the edge of that, and I decided to use On Display, this matte, very, very light pink as my highlight. And then I thought a fun shade to put side by side with that green would be Abstract. And this is a very shimmery, like light rose color. And so I applied that on the inner part of my lid. Then on my lower inner rim, I used my Wet n Wild Brow Highlight just to give me some added brightness there. And then I brought in a forest green liner. This is from e.l.f. It's the Lock-On Gel Liner. I used that just on the outsides of the lower lash line and then smudged it out. And then I went in with Landscape once more with my E21 brush and just blended that over the top of that liner. And I curled my upper lashes. I used L'Oreal Lash Paradise on the upper lashes and my CoverGirl Plump Crusher Water Resistant on the lower lashes. And the finished look, I think, is kind of natural-ish on the eyes, but it's a fun combination of a couple of shades I don't often wear together with the really deep murky green and then that pretty shimmery light pink. And then on my cheeks, actually in the little pull-out drawer that's part of this palette, I'm using all of these shades. So I've got this on as kind of a bronzer all over my skin. I've got this as my blush, and then this is the highlight, which is giving a nice bit of glow there. And I was really on the verge of going very nude and soft and sweet and innocent on the lips, but something told me just go dark today. So I grabbed this Retro Matte Liquid Lip Color from MAC, and this shade is called Topped with Brandy. And it's kind of a rich raisiny type color. I really like it. And so that is the finished look with this palette. There are definitely a lot of different looks you could do with this. This is probably one of the most versatile palettes color-wise that I've seen Tarte put out, because you've got all these different directions from warm to green to berry and plum. So I really thought that was a nice palette that they put out for the holidays. So stay tuned. I've got another look coming for day 4. Okay guys, the day 4 palette is the Too Faced Christmas in New York Merry Macaroons Vanilla Scented palette. This was one of my favorites from this past holiday season that Too Faced put out. You know the drill. We start out with Milani eyeshadow primer, and then I use the warm brown called Tiramisu in my crease. I just used it all over the crease area just to get a little warm brown color going there. Coconut is a matte cream color, and I used that up under my crease as a highlight. I also used Champagne Rose for just a little bit of shimmer up there on the brow bone. And then with a flat brush, I used Coconut on the inner part of my lid. I know this is seeming like the most basic matte look ever, and it kind of is for the first part of it. Then I went in with the dark brown called Almond Mocha, and I used the same brush and I just patted that all over the outer part of my lid and wedged that into my crease just a little bit. Now things are gonna get super fun. I'm using a purple liner. This is the L'Oreal Silkissime in pure purple, and going about halfway out on my upper lash line, I'm drawing a wing out here, and we're gonna be layering on some other liner in a second, but wing this out approximately where you normally like your wings to be, and then carry it on the lower lash line as well, all across your natural lower lash line and on the lower inner rim. Next, the gorgeous purple, shimmery purple in this palette. I'm going to take that and layer it with an angled brush on top of basically everywhere you put the pencil liner. So that's going to make for a pretty purple pop coming off of the upper lash line and then covering the entire lower lash line. Then I used a black liner. This is the Too Faced Sketch Marker in black, and I just made a really fine line starting at my innermost corner, and then it kind of starts to overlap with where you did purple, and then do a little wing within a wing here. And that's going to give us a nice spot to place our false lashes. First though, curl the lashes. I used my Tweezerman lash curler, which I love, and then I used Voluminous Lash Paradise on the upper lashes and CoverGirl Clump Crusher Water Resistant on the lower lashes. And then these lashes that are a lot like my Red Cherry number 43s. And then the finished look, when you're looking down, you have this pretty just natural matte look, and then just this fun pop of purple on the lower lash line. I'm not always like the loudest color wearer on my eyes, but I think it's really fun to sneak it in the lower lash line like this. For my blush, I'm wearing my Maybelline Fit Me blush, and this is in the shade Nude. This is one of my favorite shades, and I think it works so well on practically any look that you do. And then my Revlon Ultra HD in HD Sand is giving me this awesome nude lip. It's super comfortable. I just love this formula so much. So thank you guys for watching this look, and my last look is coming next. Alrighty, my friends, it's the fifth and final look for my Christmas in July series, and we're using the Lorac Mega Pro 3 palette, which came out right around the holidays. After priming my lids with Milani eyeshadow primer, I went into the color called Rust, and yes, it does have shimmer, but it's kind of interesting to use colors like this in your crease sometimes because they can catch the light differently and actually deepen up in a little different way too when they're in your crease. So I really covered a broad surface area with that, and then I used this nice shimmery brown called Sequoia, and I patted that on the outer part of my lid and worked that into the outer part of my crease as well. And used some blending brushes just to work those shades in together a bit more and also buff out around the outsides. And I used the color called Pink Cream, which is matte, as a highlight right up under my brow. To brighten things up on the lid, I went into the color called Bellini, and I patted that on the innermost part of the lid. And on my lower lash line with a smudge brush, I brought in Rust once again and just blended that in a pretty wide swath kind of all across my lower lash line. I decided I wanted things a little bit darker in my outer corner, so I used the jet black color just to bring a little more richness to this look. A lot of times I would blend a brown in with these types of tones, but I thought the black made for kind of an interesting twist. I used a dark brown pencil from Smashbox called Sumatra. This is one of their Always Sharp liners. I used that in my lower waterline and also kind of worked that into the lower lash line as well in between the lashes. And then I curled my lashes. I applied Voluminous Lash Paradise on the upper lashes, so skipping regular, liner across the upper lash line. I think that allows the brightness on the lids to pop even more, and then I used CoverGirl Clump Crusher Water Resistant on my lower lash line. So a really nice warm brown, kind of rusty look, really pretty easy, and this is a gorgeous palette, but just again, one that I have not been reaching for a whole lot. As for what's on my cheeks and lips, I'm wearing my Maybelline Fit Me blush in Wine, and on my lips I've got the Infallible Paints matte version, and this color is called Festival. So it's a nice kind of, I don't know, dusty terracotta. Another reason why I was really excited to do this series was the fact that, right after the start of the year, Eve was born, and that totally took my world in a whole other direction. So I wasn't really just digging in and using all of these great holiday palettes that I had. But thank you again so much to David for coming up with this awesome idea. I think it's great. I hope some of you out there maybe had some of these palettes or just some other holiday palettes, and this maybe made you think, hey, why not grab one of those out and get some use out of it. Thank you for supporting creative, unique video ideas like this, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye.